Deep in the empty space between star systems, the massive warship Retribution's Edge drifted silently through the darkness. Its black hull absorbed light instead of reflecting it, making the ship nearly invisible against the starfield. No civilian scanner could detect it. Most military sensors would miss it too. Admiral Kim Tae-won stood in the ship's command center studying reports from across the galaxy. At 55, he had been commanding the Shadow Armada for 12 years. Officially, his fleet had been lost during a deep space exploration mission. In reality, they had been watching and waiting. "Admiral," called Commander Yoon Ji-hee from her station. "We're receiving an emergency transmission." "From Earth Command?" "No, sir. It's coming from the Kepler 442 system." "New Busan colony." Kim frowned. New Busan was one of humanity's furthest settlements, almost at the edge of known space. "Put it through." The message was short and desperate. A young woman's voice spoke in clear Korean, then repeated the same words in English, Chinese, and a dozen other languages. She gave coordinates, mentioned 50,000 civilians under attack, and ended with a simple plea. "If anyone can hear this, please help us." But that wasn't what made Kim's blood run cold. The message was broadcasting on frequencies that humans weren't supposed to know existed. Alien frequencies, Galactic Council communication channels that were classified at the highest levels. "Sir," Lieutenant Colonel Choi Min-ho said quietly, "if they're using those frequencies, they're desperate enough to break every contact protocol we have," Kim finished. "How did they even know those channels?" Dr. Kang Hye-jin, the fleet's xenobiologist, looked up from her console. "The colony's communications officer must have pieced it together from our deep space monitoring data." "Very clever, actually. Clever and dangerous," Kim muttered. "Every alien civilization in 3 sectors will receive that message." The Shadow Armada consisted of 37 ships, all of them equipped with technology that officially didn't exist. Adaptive stealth systems, quantum torpedoes, neural interface controls, and weapons designed specifically to fight alien threats. For 12 years, they had been humanity's secret guardian, watching for exactly this kind of situation. "What's our current position?" Kim asked. 18 light-years from New Busan, reported Navigation Officer Lim Da-som. "We could reach them in 48 hours if we push the hyperdrives to maximum." Analysis of the attacking force? Dr. Kang pulled up her files. "Based on the sensor data in their message, I believe these are Velthari ships. We've encountered them before, 3 years ago near the Vega system. Highly aggressive, technologically advanced, and they don't negotiate." Kim remembered that encounter. The Velthari had destroyed a human research station before the Shadow Armada could intervene. They had managed to capture one of the smaller alien ships for study, but not before 47 people died. "The Velthari glass planets," Choi said grimly. "They don't take prisoners or leave survivors." "Sir," Commander Park Jin-soo called from the tactical station, "we have another problem. Long-range sensors are detecting movement from other directions. The emergency broadcast has definitely been heard." Kim walked to the main display. Icons appeared showing various alien fleets changing course toward the Kepler 442 system. Some he recognized as Galactic Council species, others were unknown. "They're not coming to help," he said quietly. "No, sir. Intelligence suggests they're coming to investigate. Specifically, to investigate how humans knew alien communication frequencies." Kim stared at the display for a long moment. The Shadow Armada's mission was to remain hidden, to protect humanity's secret military capabilities until they were absolutely needed. Revealing themselves now would change everything. The galaxy would know that humans had been lying about their true strength for decades, but 50,000 civilians were about to die. "Lieutenant Shin Dong-wook," he called. A young officer stepped forward. "Sir?" "Take the stealth courier Shadow's Edge and get to Earth immediately. Warn Fleet Command that our cover is about to be blown. Tell them to prepare for full exposure protocols." "Yes, sir." "What about the Galactic Council?" "Tell Earth to deny everything. We were never here and they never heard of us." Shin saluted and hurried toward the launch bay. Kim turned back to his senior officers. "Dr. Kang, what do we know about Velthari combat tactics?" "They rely heavily on overwhelming firepower and energy shields. Their hulls are extremely strong, but they have weaknesses. Their ships can't maneuver well at close range, and their weapons have a recharge cycle we can exploit." "Good. Choi, how are our Marines?" The colonel smiled grimly. "Ready for anything, sir. We've been practicing boarding actions for months." "Commander Park, status of the fleet's weapons?" All ships report full combat readiness. Railguns loaded, missile tubes flooded, and stealth systems at maximum efficiency. Kim nodded. For 12 years, they had prepared for this moment. The Shadow Armada was humanity's answer to the question of what would happen if the peaceful first contact scenarios went wrong. They were soldiers trained to fight alien threats that most humans didn't even know existed. Signal the fleet, Kim ordered. All ships, prepare for immediate hyperspace jump to the Kepler 442 system. Combat protocols are in effect. Sir, Commander Yoon said hesitantly. Once we engage, there's no going back. The galaxy will know what we really are. I know. Kim looked around the command center at his officers. They were good people, all volunteers who had given up normal lives to serve in this shadow fleet. But those are our people out there, human civilians who sent out a desperate call for help. He paused, thinking about the young woman's voice on the emergency broadcast. So brave, so hopeful, even facing impossible odds. Besides, he added, it's time the galaxy learned something about humanity. We don't abandon our own. The Retribution's Edge and its escort ships powered up their hyperdrives. The massive engines hummed with barely contained energy. Across the fleet, crews prepared for battle against an enemy that had never faced human military technology. All ships report ready, Commander Park announced. Kim settled into his command chair. Take us into hyperspace. Maximum speed to New Busan. The stars stretched into lines of light as the Shadow Armada jumped into hyperspace. Behind them, alien fleets from across the sector were also converging on the Kepler system, drawn by the emergency broadcast. But the humans would arrive first. And when they did, the galaxy would discover that humanity had been preparing for war far longer than anyone suspected. In the hyperspace tunnel, racing toward a battle that would change everything, Kim allowed himself a small smile. The young woman on New Busan had asked for help. She was about to get more help than she ever imagined. The Velthari ships moved like predators closing in for the kill. 12 massive vessels, each one the size of a city, approached New Busan with deadly purpose. Their weapons glowed with blue energy that could turn entire mountains to dust. Captain Lee Dae-ho watched from the colony's command center as the alien fleet entered weapons range. The colony's small defense platforms fired desperately, their missiles exploding harmlessly against the enemy shields. It was like throwing rocks at a tank. Evacuation status? He asked. All children are in the underground shelters, reported Chief Engineer Oh Sung-min, but we can't get everyone underground in time. The first Velthari ship opened fire. A beam of blue energy struck the northern sector of New Busan, vaporizing 3 buildings instantly. The ground turned to glass where the beam hit. Dr. Park So-jin coordinated the medical teams from the main hospital. Casualties were already coming in from the outer settlements. Burns, radiation exposure, people caught too close to the energy weapons. She worked quickly, knowing that worse was coming. Dad? Nari called from her communication station. I'm getting something strange on the sensors. Multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. More Velthari ships? Dae-ho asked grimly. No, the signatures are completely different. They're human ships, but I've never seen designs like these before. On the main display, new icons appeared. Sleek black ships materialized from hyperspace, moving fast toward the inner system. They were smaller than the Velthari vessels, but moved with deadly grace. The lead ship opened a communication channel. A calm voice spoke in perfect Korean. New Busan Colony, this is Admiral Kim Tae-won of the Terran Shadow Armada. We received your distress call. Hold your positions and prepare for immediate support. Dae-ho stared at the display in shock. Shadow Armada? I've never heard of any Shadow Armada. The mysterious human ships spread out in attack formation. Their hull seemed to absorb light, making them hard to see against the starfield. Advanced weapons systems deployed from hidden compartments. Captain Oh Sung-min commanded the lead fighter squadron. His ships were unlike anything in the official human fleet. Angular, fast, and equipped with weapons that bent space around them. All fighters engage the enemy. Show them what humans can really do. The Velthari had never fought humans before. They expected primitive weapons and simple tactics. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. The human fighters struck first. Instead of attacking head-on like most species, they used the asteroid field to hide their approach. They appeared suddenly from behind chunks of rock, fired devastating salvos, then vanished again before the Velthari could respond. Commander Park Jin-soo coordinated the main fleet's attack from the heavy cruiser Iron Justice. His railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speed, punching through Velthari shields like they were made of paper. The aliens' energy defenses, designed to stop energy weapons, were useless against kinetic projectiles. Target their weapon systems first, Park ordered. Disable their ability to bombard the planet. The Shadow Armada ships moved like a pack of wolves, surrounding the larger Velthari vessels and attacking from multiple directions. Their coordination was perfect, as if they had been training for this exact battle for years. Dr. Kang Hye-jin monitored the battle from the flagship's science station. She had studied captured Velthari technology and knew their weaknesses. Admiral, their shields regenerate from the bottom up. If we concentrate fire on the lower hull sections? Understood. All ships focus fire on grid sections 7 through 12. The human weapons were different from anything the Velthari had encountered. Quantum torpedoes that phased through shields before exploding, neural disruptor fields that confused alien targeting systems, and most disturbing of all, the humans seemed to understand Velthari combat psychology. Lieutenant Colonel Choi Min-ho prepared his Marines for boarding actions. The Shadow Armada didn't just destroy enemy ships, they captured them for study. His soldiers wore powered armor and carried weapons designed specifically for fighting in alien environments. Remember, we need at least one ship intact, Choi reminded his troops. Intelligence wants to know why the Velthari suddenly became so aggressive. On New Busan's surface, the battle had shifted dramatically. Instead of being helpless victims, the colonists found themselves protected by warriors who fought with impossible skill and technology. Daeho coordinated ground defenses while watching the space battle in amazement. Nari, get me a direct line to Admiral Kim. His daughter established the connection quickly. Kim's face appeared on the screen, an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes. Admiral, who are you people? Daeho asked. Where did you come from? That's classified, Captain. What matters is that we're human and we don't abandon our own. But your ships, your weapons, this technology is decades ahead of anything Earth has. Kim's expression remained neutral. As I said, classified. Focus on getting your people to safety. We'll handle the Velthari. The tide of battle was turning rapidly. The Velthari ships, designed to overwhelm primitive opponents with superior firepower, found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned. Their formation began to break apart as human fighters swarmed around them like angry insects. But the victory came with a cost that went far beyond casualties. Long-range sensors detected other alien fleets approaching the system, drawn by the original distress signal. Ships from across the galaxy were coming to investigate. Sir, Commander Yoon Ji-hai reported, we have observers from at least 6 different civilizations watching this battle. The Zerathi, the Kethvar, probably others using stealth technology. Kim nodded grimly. The Shadow Armada's greatest weapon had been secrecy. Now the entire galaxy would know that humans possessed military technology far beyond what they had admitted to the Galactic Council. The last Velthari ship exploded in a ball of blue flame. The immediate threat to New Busan was over, but Kim knew the real consequences were just beginning. All ships, secure the battle area, he ordered. Begin search and rescue operations for any survivors. Dr. So-jin led medical teams to treat the wounded from both sides. Even in victory, she insisted on providing care to injured Velthari soldiers. They're still living beings, she told her staff. As the dust settled, Daeho looked around at his colony. Buildings were damaged and people were hurt, but New Busan still existed. 50,000 people were alive because mysterious human ships had appeared from nowhere to save them. But as he watched the alien observer ships at the edge of the system, he realized that everything had changed. Humanity's secret was out. The galaxy now knew that the peaceful, technologically limited humans were not what they appeared to be. The question was, what would happen next? The Galactic Council chambers on Xerios Prime buzzed with angry voices. Representatives from 43 different species argued loudly in the great circular hall. At the center of it all sat Counselor Bae Soo-ho, Earth's official representative, trying to maintain his calm expression while chaos erupted around him. The humans have deceived us all, declared Ambassador Velnash of the Kethvar Empire, his tentacles writhing with rage. They pretended to be a peaceful species while secretly building a war fleet. Elder Zixtareth of the ancient Zerathi hegemony raised one crystalline hand for silence. When the Zarathi spoke, everyone listened. They were older than most civilizations, with technology that bordered on the mystical. Counselor Bay, the elder's voice resonated through translation devices, explained to this council how your species possessed military technology that surpasses many of our own fleets. Suho stood slowly, choosing his words carefully. At 62, he had been Earth's ambassador for 15 years. He knew how to navigate galactic politics, but this situation was unlike anything he had faced before. Honored Elder, I can only repeat what Earth Command has told me. We know nothing about any Shadow Armada. Our official records show that Admiral Kim Tae-wan's fleet was lost during a deep space exploration mission 12 years ago. Lost? Velnash's voice dripped with sarcasm. Lost ships do not suddenly appear to destroy Velthari battle fleets with impossible weapons. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Song Kyung-hwan watched the Council proceedings through encrypted channels. His official fleet, the one the galaxy knew about, was mobilizing quietly. If the Council decided to take military action against humanity, Earth needed to be ready. Intelligence report, he ordered. Major An Yu-jin stepped forward with her latest analysis. At 35, she ran Earth's most classified intelligence operations. Sir, we're seeing movement from multiple alien fleets. The Kethvar are mobilizing 3 battle groups. The Velthari survivors are requesting support from their homeworlds. Most concerning, the Zarathi have activated their deep space monitoring network. What about potential allies? The Althari Republic is remaining neutral. The free colonies are split. Some support us, others are afraid. The newer species seem more sympathetic to our position. Song nodded grimly. Humanity had always known this day might come. The Shadow Armada had been their insurance policy, but using it came with a price. Meanwhile, in the ruins of the Velthari fleet near New Busan, Admiral Kim Tae-wan interrogated the surviving alien commander. The creature was tall and thin, with silver skin and multiple eyes that never blinked. Why did your people attack human colonies? Kim asked through the translation device. The Velthari commander, whose name was approximately War Singer Kelveth, seemed genuinely confused by the question. We attack because we must. The Devourers wake. All species must die before they consume everything. Dr. Kang Hyejin leaned forward. She had been studying Velthari biology and psychology for years. What are these Devourers? Ancient enemy. Older than stars, they sleep for thousands of cycles, then wake to feed. We kill quickly, give species clean death. Better than what Devourers do. Kim exchanged glances with Dr. Kang. You're saying you attack other species to save them from something worse? Mercy killing. Velthari survive by moving always, never staying in one place too long. But other species build worlds, make homes. Easy targets for Devourers. The implications hit Kim like a physical blow. When do these Devourers wake up? Kelveth's multiple eyes focused on him with something that might have been pity. Soon. Maybe cycles, maybe less. We feel them stirring in the deep dark. Back in the council chambers, the political situation was getting worse. Several species were calling for immediate sanctions against humanity. Others wanted to inspect Earth's military facilities. A few extremist factions even suggested preemptive strikes. The humans represent a clear threat to galactic stability, declared Representative Zorkel of the Militant Alliance. They have violated every first contact protocol and lied to this council for decades. Elder Zixtereth studied the data from the New Busan battle. The Zarathi had been monitoring galactic affairs for over 50,000 years. They understood the deeper currents of history that younger species missed. Interesting, the Elder mused. The human weapons show clear adaptation to fight multiple alien species, not just the Velthari, but various technologies designed to counter different alien combat doctrines. Counselor Bay felt a chill. The Elder was too perceptive. I'm not sure what you mean, Honored Elder. I mean, Counselor, that your species has been studying us, all of us. Your lost fleet has been watching, learning, preparing for war against every major galactic power. The chamber fell silent. The accusation hung in the air like a toxic cloud. That would be quite an undertaking, Suho said carefully. Indeed, it would require decades of secret observation, technological development, and military preparation. The question is, why would a supposedly peaceful species do such a thing before Suho could answer? An emergency alarm echoed through the council chambers. A junior aide rushed to Elder Zixtereth with an urgent message pad. The elder's crystalline features seemed to pale as they read the report. We are receiving distress signals from the Outer Rim. Multiple colonies across 7 sectors are under attack by unknown forces. The main display showed a map of the galaxy. Red warning symbols appeared across the outer edge, marking worlds going silent one by one. The attack pattern. Dr. Kang's voice came through the communication link from New Busan. It matches what war singer Kelveth described. Something is consuming entire star systems, starting from the galactic rim and working inward. Elder Zixtereth stood slowly, their ancient form radiating sudden fear. The Void Devourers. After 10,000 years, they wake again. Suho looked around the chamber at the representatives of dozens of species. Suddenly, the debate about human deception seemed much less important. Honored Elder, what are Void Devourers? Creatures from beyond the galactic rim. They exist partially outside normal space-time, making them nearly impossible to fight with conventional weapons. They consume entire planets, feeding on the life energy of all living things. The map showed more red symbols appearing. Whole sectors were going dark as the mysterious attackers moved deeper into civilized space. How do we fight them? Asked Ambassador Velnash, his earlier anger forgotten. The Elder's attention turned to the data from the New Busan battle, studying the human weapons and tactics with new interest. Perhaps, Zixtereth said slowly, we should ask the humans. They seem to have been preparing for exactly this kind of war. In the Shadow Armada fleet, Admiral Kim received the galactic intelligence reports with growing alarm. The Void Devourers were real, and they were already attacking. Earth's secret preparations might be the only thing standing between civilization and complete annihilation. But first, humanity would have to convince a galaxy full of suspicious allies to trust them with the greatest military crisis in galactic history. The irony was not lost on him. Humanity had hidden their true strength to avoid being seen as a threat. Now they would have to reveal everything to save the very civilizations that wanted to destroy them. 6 months after the New Busan incident, the galaxy burned. The Void Devourers had consumed 17 star systems and were moving deeper into civilized space. Every conventional military force sent against them had been destroyed or simply vanished. The creatures existed partially outside normal reality, making them nearly impossible to target with traditional weapons. Admiral Kim Tae-wan stood on the bridge of the Retribution's edge, no longer hidden in the shadows. The Shadow Armada had merged with Earth's official fleet, creating the largest human military force in history. But even combined, they might not be enough. Status report, Kim ordered. Captain Han Jungi, newly promoted to command the Joint Human-Alien Task Force, stepped forward. Sir, we have ships from 12 different species ready for the final assault. The Zerathi provided their deep space sensors. The Althari gave us their shield technology, and even some Velthari survivors have joined us. And our special weapon? Engineer Lim Da-sam looked up from her console. The neural immunity device is ready, Admiral. Dr. Kang's research paid off. Human brain patterns really are resistant to Void Devourer mental influence. The discovery had changed everything. While other species fell victim to the Devourer's mind control, humans could think clearly in their presence. It made them perfect coordinators for mixed fleets where alien crews needed human guidance to function. Lee Nari, promoted to communications director after her role at New Busan, managed the galaxy-spanning communication network from the flagship. Her voice now coordinated fleets across dozens of star systems. Admiral, I'm receiving reports from all battle groups, she announced. The Devourers are moving toward the galactic core. If they reach it, they can feed on the central black hole's energy and become unstoppable. Kim nodded grimly. The final battle would take place at the galaxy's heart, where space itself was twisted by massive gravitational forces. It was the most dangerous possible battlefield, but also the only place where they might trap the Devourers. On New Busan, now rebuilt as a major military base. Captain Lee Dae-ho prepared civilian evacuation ships. His colony had become the symbol of human resilience, but if they failed today, symbols wouldn't matter anymore. Dr. Park So-jin worked in the medical bay, treating wounded from dozens of species. The war against the Void Devourers had forced old enemies to become allies. Velthari soldiers fought beside human marines. Kethvar technicians worked with Althari engineers. "How are our patients?" Dae-ho asked his wife during a brief break. "They'll live," So-jin replied, exhaustion clear in her voice. "Human, alien, it doesn't matter anymore. We're all just trying to survive." The combined fleet reached the galactic core after 3 days of hyperspace travel. What they found there defied description. Creatures the size of moons moved through space like living shadows, their forms shifting between dimensions. Around them, reality itself seemed to bend and twist. "My God," whispered Elder Zixtereth from the Zarathi flagship. "There are hundreds of them. Maybe thousands," Dr. Kang added from her science station. "They're feeding on the cosmic radiation from the central black hole. Each one is growing stronger." The human fleet took point in the attack formation. Their neural immunity allowed them to get closer to the Devourers than any other species. But even humans had limits. "All ships begin the attack," Kim ordered. The battle was unlike anything in recorded history. Energy weapons that worked perfectly against conventional enemies passed harmlessly through the Devourers. Kinetic weapons had some effect, but the creatures seemed to absorb damage and regenerate almost instantly. Captain Oh Sung-min led a squadron of fighters into the heart of the enemy formation. His pilots wore neural interface helmets that allowed them to coordinate with alien gunners who couldn't see the Devourers clearly. Targeting the lead creature, Oh reported. "Beginning attack run now." The fighters dove through twisting space, their human pilots calling out target information to alien weapons crews. It was working, but slowly, too slowly. "Admiral," Commander Park Jin-soo called from the tactical station. "We're losing ships faster than we can damage them. At this rate, we'll all be destroyed before we can stop even one Devourer." Kim studied the battle display. The mathematics were simple and brutal. They needed a way to hurt the creatures faster, or they needed to sacrifice something big enough to make a real difference. His eyes fell on the Retribution's Edge's reactor display. The ship's power core contained enough energy to destroy a small moon, if delivered directly into a Devourer's center. "Nari," he called to the communication station. "Can you coordinate the fleet remotely from one of the escort ships?" The young woman understood immediately. "Admiral, no. There has to be another way. There isn't time." Kim looked around the bridge at his crew. These people had served with him for years, hidden in the shadows, waiting for this moment. "All hands prepare to abandon ship. Set evacuation protocols." But Lieutenant Colonel Choi Min-ho stepped forward. "Sir, request permission for my Marines to stay aboard. Someone needs to manually guide the ship into the target." "Denied. I'll handle the final approach myself." Dr. Kang looked up from her console with sudden excitement. "Admiral, wait. I'm reading something strange from the Devourer's biopatterns. They're not just consuming energy. They're consuming consciousness itself. That's why they're drawn to populated worlds." "What does that mean?" "It means they might be vulnerable to a coordinated conscious attack. If we could link every human mind in the fleet through the neural interfaces," Engineer Lim caught on immediately. "A consciousness weapon. Every human brain linked together, focused on a single target. It might work." Kim considered the option. It was still incredibly dangerous. Linking human minds on that scale had never been tested, and the psychic feedback could kill everyone involved. But it was better than a guaranteed suicide run. "Do it," he ordered. "Link every human in the fleet." The neural connections activated across hundreds of ships. Human minds touched and merged, creating a collective consciousness unlike anything that had ever existed. Nari found herself at the center of it all, her communications training making her a natural coordinator for the mental network. The psychic attack struck the lead Devourer like a hammer blow of pure willpower. The creature, which existed partially in the realm of thought, suddenly found itself facing the combined mental force of 10,000 human minds all focused on a single purpose: survival. It screamed, not audibly, but in dimensions beyond normal space. The sound drove several alien crews to unconsciousness, but the humans pressed their attack. More Devourers fell as the psychic network expanded, linking human minds across the entire galaxy. but the effort was taking its toll. Humans throughout the fleet began collapsing from mental exhaustion. Blood ran from Nari's nose as she struggled to maintain the network. "I can't hold it much longer," she gasped. "Just a few more seconds," Kim urged. Around them, the Devourers were retreating, pulling back toward the edge of the galaxy. The creatures that had seemed unstoppable were fleeing from human willpower made manifest. The last of the Devourers vanished into hyperspace, returning to whatever dark realm they came from. The psychic network collapsed, and humans across the galaxy fell unconscious from exhaustion. When Nari awoke 3 days later in the medical bay, the war was over. The Void Devourers had retreated to the space between galaxies, not destroyed but driven off for perhaps another 10,000 years. "How many did we lose?" she asked Dr. Sojin. "Too many," came the quiet reply. "But not everyone. Not even close to everyone. The aftermath changed everything. The Galactic Council formally recognized humanity as a major power, no longer hiding their true capabilities. The Shadow Armada became the core of a new interspecies defense force, preparing for future threats. Captain Lee Daeho returned to New Busan, now expanded into a major colony world. His desperate SOS had led to the discovery of humanity's hidden strength, and ultimately to the galaxy's salvation. Admiral Kim retired to a quiet research station, working with Dr. Kang to understand the Devourers and prepare for their eventual return. The price of victory had been high, but it had bought the galaxy time to grow stronger. And in the depths of space, monitoring stations maintained their watch, knowing that somewhere in the dark between stars, ancient enemies waited for their next opportunity to feed, but they would find the galaxy ready. Humanity had taught the other species something important. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from those who choose to remain hidden until they're needed most. The SOS from New Busan had been answered by an Armada. Now that Armada stood guard over an entire galaxy, no longer in shadow but in the full light of day. Ambassador Hyunwoo Park walked through the bright halls of the council station. His black shoes made soft sounds on the metal floor. Around him, aliens of many shapes and sizes moved past. Some looked like tall birds with 4 arms. Others were covered in blue scales. A few rolled on wheels instead of walking on legs. Hyunwoo had been Earth's voice here for 5 years. The job was not hard most days. Humans were still new to this place. They had only joined the Galaxy Council 30 years ago. Most aliens saw them as young and not very important. He stopped at a large window. Outside, space was full of ships from different worlds. The council station was huge. It could hold millions of beings. At the center was the meeting hall where all the big decisions were made. "Another quiet day for the humans," said a voice behind him. Hyunwoo turned. Council Speaker Vorth stood there. The alien looked like a giant green bug that walked on 2 legs. His 4 arms moved as he talked. Vorth was one of the few aliens who was always nice to humans. "We like quiet days," Hyunwoo said with a smile. "No problems to solve." "Your people are good at staying out of trouble," Vorth said. "Unlike some species I could name." His bug-like eyes looked toward the meeting hall. "The Drakmor are fighting with the Zenith again today. Something about trade routes," Hyunwoo nodded. He had heard about this fight. The Drakmor were a warlike people who looked like walking stones. The Zenith were tall and thin with skin that glowed blue. Both species had been in space for thousands of years. They often acted like humans were too young to understand their problems. "Will Earth need to vote on this?" Hyunwoo asked. "Not today," Vorth said. "Your world does not have enough trade ships in that area to matter." This was how most council meetings went for humans. They were allowed to vote, but their votes rarely changed anything. Earth had only been in space for a short time. They had few colonies and a small space fleet. Most aliens treated them like children who needed to learn. Hyunwoo's communication device made a soft beep. He looked at the message. It was from Miran Kim, a human scientist who worked with alien research teams on the station. "Found something interesting in the old records," the message said. "Meet me in Lab 7 when you can." "Excuse me," Hyunwoo said to Vorth. "I have some human business to handle." "Of course," Vorth said. "I hope Dr. Kim's research goes well. She is very smart for such a young species." Hyunwoo walked through more halls to reach the research area. Lab 7 was in the oldest part of the station. The walls here were made of a different metal that looked ancient. Few beings worked in this section. Most aliens preferred the newer labs. He found Miran sitting at a table covered with data pads. She was a small woman with short black hair. Her eyes were bright with excitement. Next to her sat Dr. Kethvar, an alien that looked like living crystal. The old being was one of the most respected scientists on the station. Hyun-woo, Miran said. Perfect timing. Dr. Kethvar was just telling me about something strange. The crystal alien turned toward the ambassador. When Dr. Kethvar spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes. Young human, I have been studying star maps from before your people joined us. There are some things that do not make sense. What kind of things? Hyun-woo asked. He sat down across from them. Dr. Kethvar touched one of the data pads. A three-dimensional map appeared above the table. It showed a section of space that included Earth's solar system. This map is from 50,000 years ago, the alien said. See this area here? A red dot appeared where Earth should be. The records show something was there, something important enough to mark on the map. Hyun-woo looked at the red dot. That's where Earth is now? Yes, Dr. Kethvar said slowly. But the name on this old map is different. It is not called Earth, it has another name. A much older name, Miran leaned forward. The problem is we can't read what the name says. The writing is in an ancient language that no one uses anymore. How ancient? Hyun-woo asked. Older than most of the species in the council, Dr. Kethvar said. This map was made before my people built our first cities, before most races learned to travel between stars. Hyun-woo felt a strange chill. Why would Earth be on such an old map? Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. That is the question, Dr. Kethvar said. Your world should not exist in records that old unless what? Miran asked. The crystal alien was quiet for a long time. His body made soft ringing sounds as he thought. Unless something happened on your world long before humans learned to build ships. Hyun-woo looked at the red dot again. It seemed to pulse with a strange light. Could other aliens have visited Earth before we developed space travel? Possible, Dr. Kethvar said. But why would they mark it on their most important maps? And why did they give it such a... He stopped talking. Such a what? Hyun-woo asked. The few letters I can read, the alien said quietly. They do not seem friendly. Just then, alarms started ringing throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the halls. A voice spoke over the communication system in the common trade language. All beings report to emergency stations. Unknown energy readings detected in Sector 7. All beings report to emergency stations. Hyun-woo stood up fast. Sector 7 was where Earth was located. What's happening? Miran asked. Dr. Kethvar looked at his instruments. His crystal body was glowing brighter than before. The energy readings are coming from your home system, he said. Something near Earth is sending out signals. Very old signals. Hyun-woo's communication device was beeping non-stop now. Messages were coming from Captain Taemin Lee, who commanded the human diplomatic ship. The messages all said the same thing. Come now, emergency, something is waking up. I have to go, Hyun-woo said. Dr. Kethvar, please keep working on that translation. I think we need to know what that old name means. I will try, the crystal alien said. But young human, be careful. Some names are dangerous to speak. As Hyun-woo ran toward the docking area, he could not shake the feeling that everything was about to change. For 30 years, humans had been the quiet species that no one worried about. They were new and harmless and easy to ignore. But now something old was waking up near Earth. Something that had been sleeping since before most aliens had learned to fly between the stars. And somehow that something was connected to the world humans called home. Behind him in Lab 7, Dr. Kethvar stared at the ancient map. The red dot where Earth was located seemed to be glowing brighter, and for the first time in his thousands of years of life, the old crystal being felt afraid. The galaxy was about to remember something it had tried very hard to forget.